A minute off. Okay, we all set?
All set.
Okay, 7:15, I'll call the meeting to order for the East Haddam Town, Planning and Zoning Department for March 22nd, 2022. We have, attendance, please.
Barry Brownell,
Here.
James Curtin.
Here.
Richard Pettinelli.
Here.
Justin Anderson. Bernard Gillis.
Here.
Ed Govins.
Here.
Louis Salacrup.
Here.
Susan Kinsman.
Here.
Deborah Langman.
Wow, everyone's
Full
here.
vote.
Okay, do, our minutes of our past meeting, which would be March 8th.
I had a couple of things, no big deal, but on page 2, right at the top of the page, second line, structure that is built in the middle of a parking lot without greening around, it says "it," so it should just strike the. Okay, and the next line down, Rich can maybe, I don't know what this meant exactly. Mr. Pinelli suggests channelizing traffic in proposed parking lots by installing 6-foot wide end caps in front of a building. It should be parking in front of a building? I mean, just so we know what they're saying there?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to insert after caps for parking in front of a building.
And the 9 foot at every 15 is already in our regs.
Okay,
What was that again?
The 9 foot at every 15, that's already in our regs.
Yeah.
okay. And
So you
then,
want us to take it out?
Leave it in, but it's already in the regs.
Okay.
then at the, under the cannabis C there, down at the bottom, it said the Brownell Upper Mill and the Lions Club Pond property are inside the 500-foot proximity to religious institutions, schools, charitable, blah, blah, blah. That's not right, is it? Are they outside? Because it doesn't seem like they're inside, right?
No, I showed the 500-foot radius around.
Okay, so it should say are outside the 500-foot proximity or what?
Let me see.
No, the pond is inside.
Pond is inside, Brownell is outside.
Okay, so that's, okay, so
Yeah.
that's, we still gotta split them or something here, right? Somehow this is not right, right? Okay, proximity to schools, charitable institutions, hospitals, and veterans' homes.
Yeah, you just instead of R, you could, after the comma, put the Lions Club is inside the 500
So, but the-
500-foot prox area in relationship to a portion of the industrial park.
Right.
Yeah, it's not all the industrial park.
500 foot offset.
Yeah, well, see, now the Brownell
Buffer,
Upper Mill
500
and the
foot buffer.
Lions Club Pond
Buffer.
property, those are like two different.
Right.
We're saying they're the same, but they're two different things.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where it got a little squirrely, okay.
Yep.
Pond isn't commercial. I realized that after I,
Okay,
Yep.
pond isn't commercial.
okay, right, the Upper Mill is outside of these things, right? That was outside? The
Yes,
Brownell Mill was
yes,
okay.
yeah.
The Lions Club Pond property was too close to the, what, industrial park?
Half of
Parts
it.
of it.
Well, parts of it, that's
Half of it,
right,
yeah.
because it doesn't encompass the whole property.
Right.
Just because part of the property.
Now, is
is
that from the
500
state
feet.
statutes, this?
The
separate? Not really.
statute's 500 foot is the separation from,
Okay, so
yeah,
that's,
yep, yep.
that's all I had, that's, I mean, I just wanted to get that straight.
The third line on page 3, did Rich, did you need to say channelizing or channeling? I don't think channelizing is a word.
No, I don't think it's a word either.
Channeling.
I
And
know
then
what that, I know what that meant.
Yeah.
the last page, it should be, first select woman. Names.
The last one?
First select woman.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Just to go back to our last discussion,
On,
the Upper Brownell Mill
yeah,
is in C3, correct?
It's in a, that's.
No, CBIG,
It's in
or it used to
CBI.
be CBIG, the Mudas Commercial Zone.
Show me on that map.
Right there.
And that's industrial.
Yep, it's mixed use. Yep,
that's the whole property.
correct. Yep.
That doesn't show that on the map though,
Yeah, you just, it's too many small lines there. Or we all need glasses.
Want me to hold it, Bernie?
One more.
Okay, thanks.
Deborah's got some.
So you all set? Deb?
On page 2, second paragraph, where it says, Ms. Langdon did further research regarding this case and stated that, I'd like to clarify that according to, and insert according to Judge Alito. So it's not according to Debbie Langdon, it's according to Judge Alito. On March 8th.
No.
Instead of saying stated Dr. Revenue, was or according to. Ms. Langdon did further research, and I just read Wikipedia, the wiki page or the attorney's document that he sent us regarding this case, and stated that according to Judge Alito's opinion, the planning and zoning commission would be, I didn't want it to look like I was saying again. Thank you.
Or Supreme Court Justice.
I had also quite a bit of discussion on whether or not the zoning commission had the authority and the legislative authority to pass a law like other towns, just banning cannabis.
I'm sorry?
We had a discussion,
Yeah.
I
He wasn't
remember, that I proposed that the Planning and Zoning Commission, as a legislative body, had the authority to ban cannabis sales in the town without it going to a referendum,
Correct.
as did other towns.
Yeah, we
That's
do.
not- That's not reflected in the minutes.
It's not even mentioned in here, and I
Just
want it
under
on the record,
discussion or
Okay.
something, yeah.
that the board
Where do you-
decided not to step up to that.
Where do you want that inserted?
Any place you want, under cannabis, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm saying you got a spot in between. That came after, discussion ensued in regards to, okay. So somewhere in there, Tony, you could
Did you get that?
insert that.
That you suggested or suggested that the planning and zoning committee could,
Legislate,
Legislative does have the authority.
as legislative authority to ban cannabis sales without it going through a referendum.
I wasn't sure if you're asking a question or what I was, so that's why I was like, okay. And I wasn't here, so. Anything else? Did you get everything, Tony?
I think so.
Okay,
I'll listen to it again later.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll accept the amended, minutes as amended. Bills?
So we got one from Jacobson. This had to do with the Town Street retail outlet, $350.55, and I got one today from Haller and Sage for $185. And it was a review of the new appeal and telephone conferences about the appeal.
The appeal from,
Mr. Kasner.
Appealing it?
yes. Okay, motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Any acknowledgements come in?
No acknowledgements, no site plan.
Site plan, regulation discussion. Okay, are we continuing with campgrounds?
I thought we kind of agreed that we weren't gonna change.
Well, the only thing I just wanted you to be aware of, because you brought it up, that Shanigan's
Oh, that
was a
property.
pretty big
It
piece.
is a big property.
And it ends up being that if you took the piece that's on top and the one across the road, the thing totals 95 acres. So that was just a, kind of a, for those that hadn't seen it,
That's one of the, probably the only place left that is actually.
pre-existing
considered, yeah.
non-conforming sitting there.
But it's not in,
Nobody's proposing it, but yeah,
but it,
But it's pre-existing non-conforming and no use has been
nothing else has been put in there.
put in there.
Well, we were talking about expanding the zoning for,
Yep, and that was kind of a, go out and talk about it and see, and then come back. Yeah, and then I just put in that there is river camping, you're right. You can go to Gillette's Castle or Selden's.
Now, Soda only has the 4 spots, or
That's how they have
That's all I had.
posted. And then, you know, kind of to Rich's discussion, we have Devil's Hop Yard, there is camping, which is side by side. Then there's Ham and Acid, which is really side by side. And I think the only one that I found that in Kent, it seems like they're pretty well spread out. I've never been there, but the presentation is that it's, you know, sparse versus
I mean, that's,
setting up the tents right after one after another, you know.
Sheffield Hollow also has a campground.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chatfield?
Yeah, it's not on Route 80?
Chester.
No, it's like, I don't know, that's Killingworth.
Killingworth.
or
Killingworth, yeah,
Killingworth.
yeah.
80, right on 80.
Yeah, right on 80. They have a campground there also.
Yeah.
State.
Jim, on this one here, I notice there's a lot carved out.
There's actually 3, they own 3.
Yeah, it's all the same,
It's all the same owner.
will zone the same.
Yeah, so I mean, if they came in and said, we used to be a resort and we're thinking about doing campground, you know, there's the pre-existing non-conformity to it. They haven't done anything to
Yeah.
change.
They're only camping, they're only camping on the bottom half.
Yeah.
Is this zoned and residential now?
It's residential 2-acre now. Yep.
Arian's place right there?
Yes.
That we blocked that out? Yeah.
Huh?
That's where you circle that?
No, I didn't circle that one.
It's up.
No, that's a pond. That's a pond, isn't it?
Oh, that's a pond, I didn't know
Here.
it was your house. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, the circle's around the
Now, that's
water.
only-
Oh, the water, right?
So does the commission want to continue? Are we all set with the camping
I
regulations?
just got one question there. Can you give me a rough estimate of the size of those campgrounds at Devil's Hop Yard?
Oh, they're no more than 3,000 to 5,000 square feet each.
3 to 5. Okay.
Yeah, at best.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the only reason I say 5 because they got some room behind it. You know,
And right now, ours theoretically would be 4,300 square feet for a campground, 10 in an acre, 43,000.
10 per acre, but
Yeah. then
But we have a smaller,
But then
Yeah.
there's infrastructure.
right.
we request, don't we have a limit on 3,000 or something, what was it?
It's 3,000 per, and then that doesn't include
Oh,
the
maximum
roadway.
3.
Yeah.
No,
No, minimum
of
of
three.
3.
3, maximum 10 per acre, because there's gotta be
10 per acre.
access
right.
roads
Okay,
and such.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can leave it open for discussion, Bernie. You know, whatever you guys want.
So, you know, do you wanna make them bigger or, I mean, we're worried about getaway.
Well, that was the only one that came up, and then Wolf sold, and I'm like, and we looking at
Yeah.
I read the maximum of, or minimal, not maximum, yeah, maximum of 10 per acre seems like a ridiculous amount, but when you subtract all the buffer areas and roadways and all the
Yeah.
rest, you're not gonna get anywhere near that, but then you shouldn't have 10 per acre as a minimum, but at 3,000 per, you could easily get 10 on an acre.
With infrastructure?
Well, I mean, if they butt it up just right, it's possible, but it'd be pretty rare, I think. And like you say, we haven't seen any practical application of it anywhere near that density, so
Yeah,
I don't think there's some big threat to it.
Ham and Acid's doing that type of stuff, but Ham and Acid has flat topo. You know,
Yeah, it's a big
giant
sandbar, yeah, big-
Soccer field that they let you camp on.
And how close are they? I mean, they're like on
And if
top
it
of
wasn't for
Yeah,
the
that's
beach, there
not a
wouldn't be
fun
anybody there like
experience.
that.
Right.
I mean, they've got the beach, and that's why people are willing to just pack it in.
But I thought, my understanding was, I thought we were satisfied with the current regulations, given the buffers and stuff, but we wanted to explore the possibility of expanding camping to other areas in town, because right now it's all in the northeast.
Query asked
Or
that question,
West one,
whether or
right.
not we wanted to
That's what I remember.
include
I-
residential.
I think it's something we should consider. I mean, you know, apparently Getaway's doing really well. And I think that opportunity exists in other areas. I could see something down near the
So should-
castle or something drawing some interest.
Keeps getting closer to you, Bernie. Emily,
Weekend at Bernie's.
I don't know about. Top of Mount Parnassus seems good to you, doesn't it, Bernie? Go ahead.
Yeah,
No,
North Plains
I'm just
Road.
kidding about it. I'm not proposing we spread it any farther, but I mean, I don't have a problem with what's going on there.
well,
that's for
I
sure.
guess the only way that we could really find out whether or not there might be a need or possibly a want for it would be to have a discussion with EDC about that and see what they have
Good
to
idea.
say.
How
See what
large
they
is
say.
Smith Farms?
What about,
I mean, is that somewhere that it could be expanding?
they don't have the land. Wildwood owns all around them. They don't have
Okay.
much.
I was just wondering how large their parcel is.
And right where the field ends,
Yeah.
there's wetlands behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it gets a
They're
little,
more high-end, wedding event rather than camping.
I was wondering how much land they had.
Yeah, I think about 10 acres.
No, there's not much with it actually, the house, because Wildwood wraps completely around them and owns right behind the cemetery.
So we can maybe draft a letter and send it up to EDC.
There was also a comment made concerning, keeping it on state roads.
Yep.
And,
Mhm.
that would.
That
be-
might get us in trouble, but we can throw that out there.
actually,
It's not, because I
not,
can tell you, those
no.
trailers,
That's how it ended.
there's some big
We
rigs,
discussed it
and
River Road.
some of the people driving them are not that good at it.
Talk about bicycles and safety and sidewalks coming in.
Well, state roads were limited to like River Road, Mount Parnassus,
82.
82, one
yeah, 82,
forty-nine, and
149, right,
Yep.
151.
so.
I mean,
The other thing to consider is maybe look and see in a year to 2 years, the capacity or vacancy rate of the new corn. You don't want to throw in competition to a really great new campsite, you know.
What getaway?
Yeah, you don't want to all of
Yeah.
a sudden throw in competition, that's not fair to them if they're only getting it, 85, 90%. I mean, if they're hitting 100% for 2 years, then maybe we can revisit this.
Yeah, they'll probably be coming
They're
in.
more glamping than camping.
Yeah, they're a whole different,
Yeah.
but I see your point in that.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be happy if we added more competition. Even though there's different
No, I know.
levels, there's glamping and
Let's see
then,
what EDC has to say.
I'm in the
because
glamping
it's
camp
interesting to
myself.
see their
Okay.
opinion.
Jim, do you have time to draft
Yep.
a letter?
Yep.
Okay, and we'll review it at our next meeting?
Mhm.
Okay. Anyone else on camping? Okay. Move on to parking. Okay, where do we leave off on that?
So roughly on page 2, we don't really have a clause in place for us when we get a complex application or something that isn't similar. And it kinda took that part that's in yellow on the second page and said, yeah, you're gonna have to go out and get it engineered, design. We're not gonna sit here and guess it. We're not, it's not our job to guess what's supposed to happen.
So define a complex application, or do we?
Well, so we don't. We have a complex application in which no similar use can be determined. And that's that. You could say we don't have a similar use. That was a fair argument. We don't have a similar use.
So if we're going back to the case that
Yeah.
kind of prompted this,
Mm-hmm.
it's retail sales, that's what the applicants.
That's what the applicant said, but we've been told different by even the statute. So in our case, it's a call. It's a commission call. You don't have a similar use. We don't have something in our chart. It's not there. It's on page 1. We don't really know what it's gonna do. Tell you what, make us feel better, go out and get a traffic study on this, figure it out. Tell us what you're gonna really need.
Now, for, like, for instance, for cannabis, that's a requirement by the state? Isn't the state requiring something like that? I thought they had something in there, Greg.
No,
They're not requiring
no,
a.
what they said in their grand wisdom, that the town could charge up to $50,000 for the first month of traffic control, which I wish they gave us the background information that went with that to make them, huh? Well, somebody had led them to believe that there was a need for it. So those type of statements on the legislative end of it kind of make you wary.
Well, that
We're
would
gonna have a
indicate
traffic-
that they're thinking there is a traffic issue.
If there is a traffic issue, so, you know,
Well, they said that as opposed to a liquor store, the traffic is like 4 to 5 times greater.
that was our person.
I think I've seen in California.
But where are they getting that from? Because, excuse me,
Someone was talking.
sure, I'm sorry.
They're getting that from other municipalities.
Yeah, but,
Per ITE, that's.
but
where
package
it's-
stores are, you know, a dime a dozen, let's say. And these cannabis sales stores are kind of rare. So I mean, if we had as many cannabis sales stores as there are package stores, there probably wouldn't be any more traffic. But there's only gonna be a few, and they're starting with only, I think, 12 or something in the whole state, right? So those are gonna be traffic everywhere initially.
Well, if down to a town level, the traffic would be pretty heavy in East Haddam. That's gonna be the only store based on our population size.
Right.
If it
I
got
mean,
selected.
this is more specific than just traffic regulations, but the ITE standards state that a cannabis retail sales is 3 to 5 times, I believe, what a liquor store would be expected to be in certain peak hours. ITE further goes on to explain that that's based upon limited sampling. I mean, when they come up with these ITE numbers, they actually have people standing outside of a liquor store, standing outside of a strip mall, standing outside of a movie theater, counting. And there's, you're right, these,
Yeah.
you know, these cannabis sales are limited, there's limited experience with them, so they recommend, ITE recommends that you actually do a traffic study at a comparable facility. So in the case of an East Haddam application, they would recommend that we go to some rural place in Massachusetts and do a traffic study. You know, do a traffic count and all the work that goes with it. It's not the easiest traffic study, but it's what they recommend. The default is you can go to the 3 to 5 and figure out what that's gonna be.
But the onus would be on the
The
applicant
onus is always on the applicant.
to go to Massachusetts and conduct that.
I'm a little concerned with leaving anything open to interpretation, because we're just gonna get into
So,
a concept. Do we, you know,
Can we-
at the
if-
discretion of the board? Or, you know,
or do you wanna just to say in which, just I could take out, in which, just leave it as, starting off at in which no similar use can be determined, that's it.
I mean, you can say the board may require, because it'll be our judgment to make, whether we are satisfied with it or not.
Something like, you know, a pre-application is encouraged to,
Yeah.
you know, if you have a question.
That thing,
Well, we have that under special exception.
because there are other things that would not be
It's
similar
available.
use applications that we're not gonna want a traffic study on.
Yeah.
But this is one that you would, where it's gonna generate quite a bit. There may be some other uses.
Well, there might be
that-
some other uses that
yeah,
come up that we don't know
One
about.
of a kind, but
I just,
giving sure it's
Like
okay.
we were talking traffic study, but we're in parking.
but that's the parking part. How many slots you supposed to have?
Now,
But I mean, is this based
good
on
point
the,
though, Greg.
is this based on the
Additionally-
square footage of the retail space? I mean, if you're saying it's 3 to 5 times the you know, the traffic pattern of a package store, is it similarly sized package store to the cannabis retail? Because otherwise you could say, you know, I'm saying like a BJ's package store compared to, you know, we can't say that they have the same traffic. You know, it'd have to be the same size.
Right, if you're doing BJ's, you're doing a calculation that that factors in the drive-by, right? I'm at BJ's, so I'm gonna swing by and pick up my alcohol supply, as opposed to going to Four Corners, where that's a destination. Even that has some drive-by capture.
That's why I was looking at the Four Corners
it
is
is-
roughly the same size.
Right, they are based upon 1,000 square feet. You know, so it's a ratio per 1,000 square feet. I believe it's 1,000 category.
So how do we wanna word this then?
one of the things I want to bring up in the first, also for complex applications, do we have to say within our jurisdiction, or is automatically implied because these are regulations for East Haddam?
I would think that it'd be implied because these are our regulations.
Yeah.
Right.
Every town has their own
Yeah,
at this
just-
point.
Just want to make sure we
Strictest of that,
cover
yeah.
everything.
So,
Why would we need the word complex?
You know, I just, again, So I don't get paid
You gotta
digging.
start somewhere.
I stole it. I stole it, okay? I stole it.
Somebody's got complex.
Okay, so for, if you would get rid of complex, you just have,
In which no similar uses can be determined. That's it.
Does your source define a complex application?
No, we're not gonna worry about it, cause they don't.
Too complicated to explain.
Yeah,
We
I
could say
checked.
really complex.
yeah. I like it to keep it simple, in which no similar use can be determined, and we just move on.
okay, yep.
That solves it.
If we really wanna get picky and get into, I'm not gonna say it, if we really wanna get picky and get detailed, and, you know, pick this apart, as how can somebody squeeze something past us? Registered, you know, a professional engineer, registered in the state of Connecticut, got it, with expertise in traffic engineering. So do I have expertise in traffic engineering?
Don't know. Gotta see your
How
resume.
do we know?
So typically,
Take a vote.
You know, do we, and I can ask, I can ask my traffic engineers.
basically it comes down
They
to,
have a PTOE, a professional traffic something, I forget, but you know, they actually test for traffic engineering.
Yeah.
And they're recognized as, much like a structural engineer has a license for structural engineering.
Why don't we just say certified?
Well, I am
This is-
certified.
Okay, they're certified in traffic engineering.
But
You
but you don't have the PT, whatever you're
I don't
saying.
have a PTOE.
Is that what we need to have?
I think so. I mean, we're not gonna approve this or not.
No.
I can.
Yeah,
I can
dig
make
into it.
inquiry, but I think so.
yeah.
Okay,
Because the other way it goes down to it is the same way my wetlands commissions, and someone says, I'm a biologist, and you end up looking at them and say, well, what do you actually know about vernal pools, and what have you done in the past and studied on this? And they go, nothing. And then we go, okay, next, you know?
I'm a traffic and, you know, I'm a certified engineer. I will tell you right out there, I can't read a signal diagram.
Rich, would you know if Viveris is a
Barris is,
PTOE?
Yeah.
I don't know if he probably is, but I don't know. So that's what I wanna check, how
Okay.
common are
Okay.
PTOE.
excuse me. Okay. Any
Okay.
other, was that the only paragraph you,
Well, then you go to the next page, and unfortunately, I did it in green, which looked fine on my computer. And then I realized after I had it printed out, it doesn't. So anyways, in section 11.4, parking lot design, parking lots shall be designed to achieve the greatest efficiency of use of space practicable. In general, the preferred layout should have. Are we okay with that? In general? I mean, leaving it that way, it's just a question.
I would take it out.
put the
Just
preferred?
start the preferred. Those are waffle words, you don't need waffle words.
Okay. And then the next one, 190-degree parking rather than angled parking. The parking around the periphery of the site with no parking located between the building and the street.
So that's new.
No, that's what we have. That's what we have. This is ours.
So how did we approve the pharmacy? That has parking between the building and the
Let me
street.
find out.
That's what we were arguing about.
Yeah, I
right?
know. You know? I think it came down to handicap and everything else, so, yeah.
Well, he's got a street on two sides of him, so
Yeah.
it kinda has to have parking between the building and the street.
No, he's got it on both sides,
Both
yeah.
sides.
Correct.
He didn't give us a front. The idea of this is a front.
We would have had to make a waiver on that.
And again, well, it's kind of also that language thing. Great efficiency, practical, in general, preferred layout should have 190-degree, preferred should have 2. It says preferred to it. Because when you look at parking, it goes to 1 and 2. So it doesn't say no, it says preferred. I just wanted to point that out, so. All right. The rest
Should we
is,
take out the preferred and just say the parking lot shall be designed to achieve the greatest efficiency for space practicable and take out the green?
Well, if that's the
Take
case,
out in general.
if that's the case, we wouldn't allow angular parking.
but it's still the preferred, it's preferred, but if they come up with something alternative to it, well, I know you prefer it, but I have to do this because of blah, blah, blah. If you take out the preferred, it just said layout should have, or shall have,
I don't think shall is the right word.
no.
Now, why is the
That tells
angled
me that-
parking so, a problem? Why is that?
Angled parking is less efficient if you're gonna
Oh, it's less
maximize.
efficient.
Yeah, if you maximize it, it's 90-degree perimeter parking. But
But it sets
If-
the
Easier in and out. but
pattern,
it's,
the
you know,
traffic pattern.
angled parking is, if I'm doing one-way traffic, one-way circulation, angled parking works.
That's what angled would have to be, because
Right,
obviously
right.
you
You couldn't
can't
go-
be turning around going the other way, yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised how some people park, but.
Really?
I don't think so.
You've never seen people backed into angled parking? I do.
Oh, yeah.
Just drive through if it's stacked, like, that's not what you're supposed to do.
Getting back to parking between the building and the street, why do we have that? Is there a reason we don't allow it, or we don't?
There's
Trying to push the buildings, and Mooters are trying to push the building closer.
trying to get the building, yeah, closer to the
But, yeah, I
street,
got that, but there's.
better architecture, less clutter in front of a structure, allows them to actually, to display their wares or whatever they want, and signage.
More
So
landscaping.
that, yeah, so there's a,
Street life.
yeah, and,
It's just
maybe a table or two with a cafe.
I know about it in that new zone. Is this only applied to that zone or all over town?
This would be everywhere. This is our parking regs, so this would be also East Adam Village and, yeah.
So good speed, or Gelson House would be, of course, they're already
there, right.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
it's,
that wouldn't be allowed.
just think about it, every place in town has
They
parking
don't even
between
own
the
that,
street and the
though.
building.
Right. State owns right up to the sidewalk.
Yeah,
Really?
every place in town was built more or less when that was.
Yeah.
Good precedent for Moody's then. You know, they're really trying to get away from that. If you wanna do street parking in Moody's, we already have a precedent in East Haddam.
Well, the old Buddhist had it in front, but you couldn't park in the back.
Yeah, with angle
But we
parking
still-
too.
Yeah.
We still have that at the Gelson House, so that'd be a good precedent to cite if we wanted to do that.
I mean, when you're on a state road and you angle park, nobody's going the other way. I mean,
No.
there's no
No.
option to do that.
Okay. Oh,
Back in angle parking. Yes, you can.
But you'd have to back, in a
What's the
state
trunk?
road, you'd have to be backing across the other lane.
It's your trunk and your luggage and, your loading on the sidewalk. They do it.
so then,
Not on major roads, but they do it.
this is just a question. We have bicycle access design standards and the minimum of 2 per 40. Is that normal? It seems to be
Where are you?
2 per 25 to 2 per 50.
11.7.B.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll look around, see if there's any differences.
Bicycle parking is a rack. I'll be honest, I've never counted how many spaces I get with a parking rack. I just,
They come anywhere from 2 to 12. I mean, it's,
By the
yeah.
way, where are the ones for this building that were supposed to be?
I've ordered them 3 times. I haven't seen them, have I?
No, I
I
haven't
will
seen
put
them.
that order in again. Yeah,
I mean,
you're right. No, you're right. I asked, let's see, I asked Ron a couple times.
'cause,
I'll have to ask Don now to put it on the list.
I mean, there's a lot of bicycling for the
Yeah.
folks out there.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they're at this end of the building, they probably get used.
And we have people that come right up to the front door, bicycle here, and lean it up against the building, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Then in the green, I put down development and proposed areas. Now, we look for a minimum of 15% of total space as landscaped open space. And I tagged on a section that we would look way back in 2011, that asked for a lot more. I don't know, it's just, I brought it up for discussion.
where are you?
11.8
11.8.
C. It says provide a minimum of 15% of the total parking area as landscaped open space. So I gotta do some digging on that, because that just seems so small. Doesn't it? I mean, if you're, even with your lot coverage, you should have more than that.
Yeah, but our end caps and stuff, shouldn't that take care of the landscaping?
It's all part of it, yes.
So
So part of
Is
it.
this
Is it
15%
additional to it?
within the parking field or 15%
Where do you see
of the
15%?
plot?
Yeah, that's,
Is it
that's, I
the-
screwed up by making it, I gotta make it all yellow and bold. It looks good on the computer, and then I didn't realize when I printed it and said made 15 copies. Yeah,
Total parking area.
15 or more parking spaces should be provided.
It would seem like the end cap should accomplish.
oh, they count for it, but, yeah. So anyways, we'll keep on moving, this is just food for thought.
So how much area would be 15 parking spaces?
Oh, let's let's just say they're 10 by 20, so there's
10 feet wide,
Nine
so
wide.
150
nine,
feet long.
yeah,
Well, yeah, but that's just the parking space.
right.
You're gonna have to add at least 24 feet if it's single bay, or 20 feet if it's double, so it's 9 by 18 plus.
It's 2,430 square
20 by
feet,
18 times 2.
that's what it comes to.
2,400?
9 by 15 by 18.
He used to be able to do that in my head. I became a manager.
That's a big area.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
So each
15
parking
cars, it's
space-
surprising.
So if we have,
Size of a house.
if we have nose-to-nose parking, it's 504 square feet for 2 spaces. I did that right.
Yeah, this is how big.
504 square feet for 15 spaces?
2.
2.
But that's a bay, so that's parking, drive aisle, two-way parking. So 15 spaces is 9 by 18 by times 15, and that's in a row. $2,430 square feet.
That's your shin guard. About 5 minutes.
2430.
365 feet, square feet of landscaping per 15 bays of parking.
So, okay, that's not bad. That's, yeah.
That's proportional, it seems.
Keep that number, please. The land's 500.
I just cleared it.
It was 2,430. Total square feet for the parking times what?
So 2,500 and you end up with 350
Yeah.
of landscaping. Yep.
And that would include everything that we, cast, and islands and everything?
350,
350 square feet. For 15 days.
15 part, yeah.
15 parking spots.
so that's 2 parking spaces, basically, a little over 2 parking spaces.
Not that much.
Well, yeah, but if you do an end cap, it's double.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's a little over 2, I mean, if we wanna make it more, it's fine, but it's a little over 2 parking spaces, a space.
Oh, we gotta
Parking
start
space is
somewhere.
162, just for the single space, doesn't include the drive or anything else.
You have to have some kind of standard, and not everybody's gonna lay out 15 in a row, it's gonna be, I mean, all
Right.
these things. will
Yeah,
be
the
complicated.
idea of 15 in a row was to break it. That's,
No,
that's
well, that's a
all.
lot of cars in a row, I mean, around here, you wouldn't expect much, anything much
That's
bigger.
not, yeah, that's not
Time.
That's not unrealistic with the rest of the parking locations that are out there.
Oh, no, with big stuff, yeah.
Because you do need, you have to recognize they are gonna plow it. You don't want it every 5 spaces, they'll kill you.
Right.
Don't
So is
disappear like you
15
did
still,
at-
so that's the question, is 15 still a good number? As long as we have end caps? Or is it too
So
long?
If you do, if you're looking at just, so my first question is the intent of the 15 in the parking lot, is that 15% of the lot? That's a difference.
I think it's the parking lot,
So
because it
if
says
we-
the parking area.
We're making the parking lot footprint bigger, so, I
Okay.
don't know, right,
Yep.
what's,
Okay, I got you.
right, as I squeeze in more green space, I'm pushing out the perimeter.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I mean, where this would apply would like Tractor Supply in Colchester, where they don't have any of these, they've got the ends there, but the whole open, in the middle is open.
Yeah, they got
There's a sea.
nada.
Yeah,
that's
it's kinda
not good.
convenient, I have to admit, but.
For you
as
in the
far as
trailer,
plowing-
especially when you do
Oh,
a
yeah,
trailer,
no,
We're
yeah.
ultimately looking at it if and when
But
Buddhist
it
takes
doesn't, it's
off.
not attractive, that's for damn
Well,
sure.
Moodus
No.
is behind too, right? We're looking to put
That's
that
what-
behind.
yes.
the other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if a Tractor Supply came in, and if they came in and said, look, we really can't do this because our customer base is coming in with trailers and stuff, and we've done the traffic circulation, we'd have to be open to,
But then we would look for perimeter plantings and things like that around the whole outside
yeah.
to enhance it.
Jim, it seems like you're familiar with it. Are there lampposts in the middle of that Tractor Supply?
I think there's the island on the left side there, and then I don't think there's anything till you get to all the way to the other side.
Yeah.
Put all their lamps on the outside?
Lamps, on the left and all the way on the right, I think. And then the building.
But I think Rich is on the right path to raise the bar, and then if there are special considerations, you could modify it.
That sounds
So
fine to me.
I'd rather raise the bar and then adapt it with each applicant.
Okay, so the next question comes, in that
Get to that,
okay.
I'd like to make, if we're making a change to the regs, under that section where it says planting plans.
Yep.
I suggest we say, planting plans shall use recommended native plants for Connecticut, that shall not include invasive species.
Yep.
And then this list is available from the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and listed in Appendix 4, which is here.
Yep.
This source needs to be
Right.
updated.
Yep, yep.
That's consistent with,
Our stormwater,
conservation
yep.
practices. It will save developers money if they use native plants, because they are lower maintenance and, require less water, or they attract pollinators. It's consistent with kind of our view for East Haven, I think. And likewise, under section 3, a minimum of 2, I would include there again, Connecticut native, deciduous or evergreen trees. Tree shrubs. And then if we have this here, I had sent Jim a couple of contacts,
Yep.
recommended websites that have
Yep.
lists, updated most current list of invasive species, and also the native plants as recommended. And they're easy to use for developers.
So the next question after that is 15 and this spacing? Is that,
I'm sorry, what was that, Jim?
this one here, the diagram from the Stanford shows 11. I think the other one, again, shows 11. I mean, are we at 15 though? Is it still a good number of 15 spaces before you do islands and end caps? Is that what you're trying to accomplish? Or did I lose the intent?
We decided on 15 when we rewrote the regs. That was
Right.
based on some other examples.
Yep,
Yep.
yeah,
If
so,
we're upping the percentage, then let's lower the spacing to 11 or whatever. I don't know why Stanford came up with this.
mhm,
Ours, we looked at some other ones. I
Yes,
had done a couple
yeah.
that had 15 or 16 parking spaces. 15 parking spaces is a run of 165 feet. 11's 121 feet.
This is a good time to revisit where it would be nice to have some island or peninsulas that could fit a tree that would provide shade for the partners.
Well, we already require that.
Okay.
So you're the guy who maintains it. 121 feet for a run or 165 if we're plowing?
Oh, plowing, no, well, the longer, the straighter, the better, I mean, that's all there is to it, so, but you have to adapt, and that's what you get paid to do, I mean, there's some pretty terrible parking lots out there. So, I mean, it's a hassle, it costs more to take care of, that's all. You know, I mean, we're laying it out not for ease of maintenance, we're laying it out for the way it looks. So, I think you'd have to stick with what you're after. You want it to look good, well, it's not always the easiest way to take, obviously, a big open area is the easiest thing you can plow. They've got those big snow collectors, and that's the easiest thing, just run right down and whoosh, done, but doesn't look good. What were you saying, this is 11,
Yeah,
so you
Yep.
wanna go to 15 and,
We have 15 now.
yeah, okay, so I mean, just change that to, 15.
What are you thinking, 11?
Oh, that's what Greenwich has or something, what is that, Greenwich, what is that, Norwalk or Greenwich?
Stanford.
Plan, it's not. Again, I think I would fall back to, either one works if we're going to increase the percentage of interior landscaping requirements from, say, 15 to 20, then let's reduce the run of parking spaces, because that's one way they can do it. But I wanna go, like, take a look at some parking lots.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we're not, we didn't set a public hearing on this, so this is,
Yeah,
you know,
it would be nice to see actually, what we think is a good-looking parking lot, and how inconvenient is it? I've seen some parking lots that were amazingly horrible to drive around in.
horrible.
I'm like.
There's some in Glastonbury.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's just a little over the top.
Free-for-all.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to see what a good one looks like, that we
Oh, it's
consider
one of the medical
attractive.
complexes I had to take my father to, and it was like, oh my God,
Wait,
you're
did you go
killing me.
Exit,
It's off of 84, up in that 83. Thank you. Yeah,
you took a little right up the
we
hill?
know you go off Route 2, and then you shoot almost diagonally across, and then you go up the top of the hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you go up to the top of the hill and then go down,
Yeah.
that's where I work. So I'll
Do you?
take a look
Okay.
at some of
Oh,
those.
take a look at some of those, because some are really nice, and then there's some there that I go, ooh,
I'll
you know.
walk
And
through one.
the only reason I go with the ooh part, because it was a place of cardiology and things like that, and I'm thinking there's a lot of old people, and this must be difficult.
So these Stanford regs show, as you say, 11 spots,
Mhm.
but underneath there it says no more than 10 spaces between islands.
Yeah. Hey, I can't help you there. I only clipped and paste.
So they like 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one thing we have to keep in mind when we're looking at like Stanford's is we have a lot more green in terms of trees.
True.
And two, they have a lot more green in terms of land item money, so people wanna be here and they'll put up with that, you know, right?
Just as a point, I lived in Stanford a long time, and I watched it grow from the 70s all the way up to current day. And I wouldn't use them as an example for perfect planning.
There's a testimony.
Duly noted.
I mean, they just put buildings and parking lots and changed directions of streets willy-nilly.
They're evolving.
Yes,
From Madison.
but not in a good way.
Are we also going to require, an EV charging station?
Maybe you should.
How about that?
Stanford
How
has
much
this.
more do you want me to do?
They've
What's that?
updated their.
How much more do you want me to do?
No, just
Doesn't
take the
Chaparral
wife
count?
down there, it's a
So
nice town.
for every 10 to 20 parking spaces, they require a minimum of 1 charging space. Electric vehicle.
There'd be a generator next to the EV.
Well, there's EV for Tesla and there's regular EV. Two different charging points.
What's that?
Oh, they didn't make them all the same?
Tesla has a different charging system than regular EV.
Really?
Yeah.
Feel like-
And then,
When I was on 95, we'll go back to 95, I stopped in Delaware, you know, the Center Island gas station. They had 20 charging stations. Not one car was in there, not one.
It just said charging stations shall be equipped with adapters to allow charging for the widest range of different vehicle models.
Yeah, they may say that, but it's different. There's quick charges, you need adapters from a Tesla
yes. and if you
to
don't have the adapter-
another one. It's a little more complicated than they make
Fortunately,
it.
that's
Just
too
by
bad.
the adapters, the owner of the
Fortunately, we got
car.
smart
or
with
the-
Yes,
gas tanks,
yes.
you know.
And if you buy a Tesla, you could pay for a plan, that charging plan. You know, it's like having a Tesla credit card, because it's not free.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The non-Tesla pumps, they will get price gouge the people that are not in part of the Tesla network.
And in the Tesla area, there were about 8 or 9, it was hard for me to count them all, and there was one Tesla charging.
I was at the Waterford, mall where Best Buy is, and they had 3 or 4 charging stations, nobody there.
Yeah, well, it's less than 1% of the population. I guess at some time in the future,
Right.
Okay, so are we all,
There's no doubt about that.
are we all set on the parking? Do we still have more discussion?
Oh, well, I don't know about
At this-
tonight. I think
you know,
we're
for
gonna work
tonight.
it there.
Oh, we should get an updated one.
Yeah.
Jim, and we'll
Right.
go through it, right?
I mean, would we like to include charging stations in our parking area? We don't have anything right now.
Oh, Shagway.
Well, Shagbark has it.
Don't they have one down at the,
Yeah, no,
the old town office?
I've never seen anybody plugged in.
I do. It's the same car.
Oh, the one car.
Someone who works there.
Oh, okay.
Town has a whole rack of them over by their
This is for the
town
future.
office there.
Where?
In the the municipal parking lot.
It's
by
not as
their
long for me
Middletown
as it
town-
is for you.
town
Oh,
office.
yeah.
Well,
There's a whole
I
rack
know
of them
that
there.
Goodspeed wanted to put some charging stations in, but the floodplain.
It's in, you know, who bears that expense? They're not cheap to put in.
No.
No.
What is the state regulation on that?
I just wrote that, Connecticut General Statutes, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah, well,
Let
we
me
should at
find
least
out.
comply with
Go
the
from
state.
there and see what.
That's why Shagbarks went in with that, with their, solar
Yeah.
installation, it was a requirement.
I see a
It's a whole
Chevy,
other story, yeah.
I think a Volt I see there. Well, whatever.
Did we talk about parking for the cannabis regulation, or that's a separate?
Well, that kind of was, we kind of hit that.
Because I saw in the beginning for retail, but it's not retail.
Well, that's why we say
have to-
different.
we have to-
Nobody's, until somebody wants to print something and say the definite authority on it, let somebody else figure it out at this point, because there's no sense us taking a pot shot at it.
Because
Well, we're covered.
I looked through everything, and there's nothing, you know, of the
No, we
state
are. For
regulations.
applications in which no similar use can be determined. Right?
Okay.
But I'm telling you, it's retail.
Good for you.
Okay. Cannabis moratorium.
So just to let you know, the only places that are really writing these things are, basically urban centers. So I stole a good portion of this from New Haven,
Okay.
as far as, you know, writing regulations to allow it. So it's kind of a clip and paste deal here. The definitions are really simple because they're definitions of the Connecticut General Statutes.
What I'm assuming is that after your conversation, after I left, that people wanted you to just kind of put something together.
Well, the whole thing was that if it's gonna go to a moratorium, then we'll find out whether it may be, we don't need.
Referendum.
Referendum,
Sorry, I'm
correct.
sorry, referendum. But the point is, we need to have something ready to go, and that's what we were talking about.
Right, okay.
So in case it gets passed, then we would have some regulations ready to be
So
put in
Jim, you
place.
just went around and was looking at what other towns.
Yeah. Tried to find,
I
Just-
worked with another engineer, because we're east, and she also was on a planning and zoning board for Tolland, and we've been regaling ourselves with cannabis stories. And they just passed their regulations 2 weeks ago. She came out
Did they?
today all proud that, you know, they passed their regulations, so I said, can we steal them? And she said that they should be online by Monday.
okay.
And
okay.
they're comparable size, you know, they're a little more close. They've really restricted via offsets where they
Okay.
could put stuff. And they used East Hartford as their basis.
Yeah, I saw East Hartford. The definitions were really short, so I said, skip it, I'll just steal the state definitions. Yeah, so I have East Hartford in mind, but it'd be interesting seeing Talon, seeing that they're rural, they're not what you would consider as,
In general, can we exceed state requirements, minimum requirements?
Distance, yes.
yeah,
They say 5, we can say 1,500.
yeah.
It used to be that local zoning would outdo the state, but now the state is coming in and changing a lot of that.
Yeah, that's why I questioned it.
And
We'll see.
And so the other thing too that you can do is that, you know, I think it was Eddie that brought it up, that there's a whole slew of things that are allowed. And, you know, the uses, you know, you've got producer, dispensary, cultivator, microhood, retailer, hybrid retailer, food and beverage manufacturer, product packager. So I noticed that some towns were kind of like saying, yeah, we're good with retailer, or we're good with micro cultivator, but we don't want the rest of it. Or, you know, and that's a zoning choice also. If you were, you know,
We would have to look at other regulations as well, and put something in there, because if a daycare center wanted to open up, say within 500 feet of a cannabis retailer, that would make the cannabis retailer non-compliant after the fact.
They couldn't open up.
They wouldn't be able to, daycare can't.
Pardon me?
They couldn't open a daycare center.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
In
That would have to be
proximity to
part of every regulation, that we mention that it,
hey, sure about that, no.
Maybe exclude it right away.
What do you mean?
Not necessarily.
We don't have an exclusion, so I'll go back to the.
sorry I brought up the question. but-
Yeah, no, it's good you brought it up, because the agricultural part, like we said, agriculture, we put in our subdivision that, you know, if you move next to an existing farm, the house under the subdivision has to be 100 feet from the property line. Well, there we took care of it because we said it. We don't have in our regulations right now that if you decide to do a business within 500 feet, you can't. So, right now, the way it looks, if you picked 500 feet for retail, they found a spot, nothing's in violation of it, they're up and running. They've got a zoning and a state permit.
The cannabis store.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, somebody says, this place is too big, I'm gonna open a daycare. If your regulations don't say in it that you can't open a daycare within, reciprocating backwards, they could.
But that doesn't impact the cannabis
No.
operation. They're
No.
Existing non-conforming.
Makes them non-compliant, non-conforming.
They're existing
yeah.
non-conforming.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's an interesting.
so,
We gotta
I
think
gotta-
of all
I-
the things that we don't want cannabis near, and then check all those regulations. And put something in that,
well,
There might be a general thing you could put somewhere which says that.
so that's like
Well, it's not
that's a
conforming.
reverse, but that's a reverse prohibition.
But
Yeah,
wouldn't it have
that's
to go
what
to
it is.
ZBA?
I don't
That's
think
why
we
it
can
can't
do
work,
that.
so it's gotta be.
I don't, yeah,
I don't
hey,
think we can.
I'll run that by,
Isn't it the operator of the daycare that makes the decision that they're okay?
Well, it's whoever's there
being moved away
first.
from the cannabis store?
well, yeah, I'm not saying it's a great idea.
No, I'm not saying it's, yeah, but
you haven't dealt with those
That's
little
a good
kids?
point, yeah, that's a very good point.
it might calm the kids down.
Have you looked, have you looked at, regulations for banning it also?
Nobody's gotten to that point. They've done the moratoriums and they've done town ordinances.
I
Okay.
thought
I
old,
could-
old Lyme banned.
I thought Old Lyme did it through town ordinance. but
Oh,
I'll
town
check.
ordinance, oh, okay, well, that's
Yeah.
how,
I believe it was Clinton also.
maybe that's the way
Yeah.
to do it.
So I'm surprised about Clinton, but anyway.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
So
no,
those two, we might,
I'll see if I can find, a zoning reg.
because we're gonna be hitting
Yep.
that, we have to do that side also. How much more time do we have on our moratorium?
May 15th, May,
15th, so that's right around the corner.
June, June.
June.
Isn't the question, how many meetings do we have until the referendum?
No, I don't think it is June, no, I think it's May.
No, it's May, it's May.
May?
She said that
May is gonna be the
15th, or
referendum.
what was the date for
Yeah,
the
but when did
budget?
we start, when did we
May
start?
10th?
November or December?
December.
So December, so that would be May.
Two more meetings?
January, February, did we start in December? I thought it was
so.
December 15th. So you got January,
June.
February, March, April, May,
June,
June.
6 months.
Well, we can check.
Yeah.
You can,
Well, it goes by the date.
Make
We
sure
start
that
May-
works.
December 15th, that's December.
it's still March, so we're good.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you're right.
January,
You're right,
January,
February, March.
right, you go to June 15th.
Oh, it's still whole month of December.
Well, these winters over, that's the good news. I wanted to
So,
go over what
whatever
we've
it is,
got
you
for
gotta
this.
get it done by,
No,
Yeah.
we can extend it, I just don't wanna run out.
yeah.
I got a couple things on this, if we're gonna use this as a.
Well, can we extend the moratorium if the referendum comes in and that they say they want it?
Yes,
I think-
Well, then we have regulations that say, okay, here's the
Yeah.
zoning.
Yeah, effect until June 15th, 2022. And yes, you can. You can, like in, May, say, okay, we're, based on the
6 months.
new information, we could do 6 months, 3 months, whatever you just, yeah. Yes, you can.
Renew it once anyway, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I got a couple of comments on this whole thing. You know, on the first page there, right under, we start out with A is purpose. And on that first line, it says to establish reasonable and uniform regulation. I think we should strike reasonable, another arguable word, and just to establish uniform regulations, and just forget the reasonable part. The other thing is, okay, it goes from A and it goes to B under definitions, and then we have 5 pages of definitions. And when we get to page 6, it ends and it starts going on to
Oh.
other stuff, but we didn't start a new,
Yep, new section, yep. Okay,
let's see, I have one, let's see.
I'm sure he's updating the section by incorporating by reference to the state statute.
That's, I was thinking, it's 5 pages, I mean, it's the majority of, the thing is 8 pages long and 5 pages are
well,
definitions.
some of them are, I know. I
And the
know.
last page is nothing but boilerplate
And
stuff.
well, the problem is, it's also definitions could get just dumped into our definitions if we, either way you wanna do it.
Well,
It just,
either way, it's all the state stuff repeated,
Yeah.
but fine. I had one more thing, but I don't see it. Nope, that was it, just this section. Start a new.
new, yep. Section.
So for impact on traffic, we're gonna take this, what we just discussed.
In our
Yeah.
parking regulations?
So we say for complex application.
Can we go back to the East Hartford regulations that you printed from?
Yeah, did I give them a while ago? Okay.
No, I'm not. Cannabis.
Didn't go home. My wife grabbed the, brought, I think grabbed last month. On 2 boards, and I got the water.
You got WPCA?
Do you have it, or you want me
Will that help us?
East Hartford, here we go. So what do you got?
to- I don't know what page it is. Business 3 zone, it says new text under the following section. I don't know what page it is. Doesn't have a page. But it says a fire department review shall be approve the proposal. Is that something we should have in there?
Why are they asking for it? Do they ask for it for all retail businesses?
It's for storage of fertilizers associated.
Approval of proposal report firefighting feasibility of the proposed cannabis retailer or cannabis hybrid. And above that, the proposed security plan for a cannabis retailer, approved by the East Hartford Police.
Nope. So what I did for that,
Security.
we said security's gotta meet the state of Connecticut's criteria. You know, so that's, you can't have one division saying I want this and one that when it comes to that sort of stuff. The fire department, that's really up to the building official and the fire marshal to review it,
Yeah, I would think that they would get reviewed, period.
period, yeah.
Is the product more flammable?
Well, fertilizer is, can be, right?
What's
Cannabis manufacturing, there's a solvent or something.
I don't think it's any worse than anything else.
So this isn't retail, this would be for manufacturing.
Manufacturing.
Right.
Okay. The other thing was, where would Nichols Field, the disc golf, the dog park, and the beach fall under,
Those are town
Prohibition.
parks?
Hmm?
They're all town parks?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're outside of the, IG, so.
But they're parks, that's.
Talking about using.
Yeah, but is it
Oh, for
legal
use?
to use it there?
Oh, to use it? Well, I don't know, we're not restricting use, are we? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought we
Any
did.
place you can't
I thought
smoke.
we did, yeah.
The state allows it in all public places.
Yeah.
the state allows it.
sidewalks and
I think that's a selectman ordinance issue if they don't wanna have it on town parks.
Well, we could write that in here and say that at the discretion of the Board of Selectmen.
I got you saying, John.
Handoff.
Well, these regulations are enforced by our zoning enforcement officer, so are we asking Jim to go around and
Yeah, no, I know.
see if people are token up?
Yeah.
It's anywhere you can't smoke cigarettes. If you can't smoke cigarettes, you can't smoke.
That's the way I read it.
That's the state statute. yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Do they smoke
But you're in your car.
I don't know. and-
cigarettes at the town beach and? you don't?
I
Absolutely.
don't know if there's any
They have-
signage for that.
As you say,
They
there's-
probably already do.
as you say, there's no,
You can't smoke cannabis in your car and you can't drink in your car.
Right.
There's an open container law, so that, you can smoke cigarettes in your car.
Yeah.
If you're crazy enough to do that.
Does Connecticut have an open container law?
Oh, yeah.
Does, yeah?
Does Connecticut? I don't know. I don't think they do.
Just ask Carl.
Yeah, they do.
I don't think they do.
So how
Yeah,
long
they
have
do.
you been drinking in your?
I don't drink in my car, but if you have passengers in your car, they could have drinks. The driver can't.
Yeah, I think, oddly enough, I think you're right.
I think that's
Not
true.
after this year. I don't think.
I don't think that passed. I think your passengers can drink in the car, but the driver can't drink.
It was
So that's
on the
literally,
going
here, hold
grid.
my beer?
Yeah,
You can't have,
exactly.
you can't have an open bottle in your
Look it
car.
up, look it up.
Yeah.
You can.
Because
otherwise you couldn't-
That question came up and I remember being caught off guard, because I always thought there was an open container.
How would you
law, and I
take
was
your
reading
wine? Because you can cork a wine at a restaurant and take it home with you.
That's true, because you
wouldn't be able
can't
to
have
do
the
that
blue and all
otherwise.
that. You can
It's
do
not
that.
open.
Yeah, you got a
Sure,
cork
this
in
has
it.
been
Yes, you
open.
can, because.
No, no.
It's not factory sealed.
No, that's
He
not
might be right, cause that's why we emphasize on having a designated driver.
Right. I think you need to look that up because those other states do have that, but we don't.
So you're,
Just a point of fact.
Well, they
you're
put that to look
right
that
about
up.
that town ordinance, because this is Southbury, who printed this thing for
Yep.
us. And it says, the zoning regulations cannot determine where recreational cannabis can and cannot be smoked or vaped on public property, IG in town parks, on sidewalks or streets, although may be determined through a local ordinance change.
So that
Okay,
goes to
so that's
Board
the
of
way they
Selectmen.
have to do it. Okay.
Thank you.
So
That makes it easier.
Drivers trade state laws, the passengers over the age of 21 are permitted to drink and have open containers in Connecticut. However, drivers are not permitted to drink. So, yeah.
There you have
We're
a
in,
passenger.
yeah, exactly. In the statute, though, it said,
Cannabis section?
yeah, it said the use of cannabis shall be prohibited on any state lands or waters managed by the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Any person who violates this prohibition shall be fined not more than $250. And it can be enforced by agents of DEP.
So they can't do it in the parks.
All state
Yeah.
parks.
Or while boating, or while fishing, or while anything like that.
That's effective this July.
Did you hear that, Bernie?
No, sorry.
So,
You can't smoke cannabis on any state parks or
State parks,
waters
no.
and stuff.
No, I read that.
How about on your boat on Bastion?
No, state water.
state water.
Can't smoke on your boat?
No. What I'm gonna do?
I was thinking of you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have open beers either.
That's right. My passengers are drinking those drunks.
Okay, what else do we need to have? Where are we going?
Well, this is
I think that was a
pretty
good
much done.
start.
This isn't a lot to this one, really. I mean, other than there's 5 pages of definitions, so. There's only really 2 pages of
Regulations.
standards or regulations, and then the,
So we looking for
That's good.
suggestions or
Boilerplate.
changes now? We're gonna take this home and,
Yeah.
The one question I had is, we're talking about retails, right? What if somebody's also making brownies, and can they make brownies on the same place that they're selling it? Cause I don't see that.
It's a food and beverage manufacturer, so
Is it, can it be the same place?
No, that's a different,
Does it have to be different?
that's a different license.
But who said you can't have 2 licenses?
Can you have it in the same the same,
2 licenses in the same place, I would imagine.
Yeah,
But I mean,
And
that's
that's-
something we don't.
And that's
we don't-
kind of, well, that's why I kind of said, do you want to include all of these uses, or do you want to just say, you know,
One has to be separate, or,
retail or micro cultivator, or, you know, dispensary, because it's, you know, medical? I mean, you also have that too.
Well, we probably should reread all the definitions of those uses and see
Uses
how
and
we
see,
think that
yeah.
it's gonna fit,
So how many
or
different
not.
licenses are there? Medical?
So you got,
State,
What
as
page
many
are
as
you
they
on?
can.
so you go to page 6. You got, you could be a producer, a dispensary facility, a cultivator, a multi-cultivator, a retailer, hybrid retailer, which is dispensary and
And
then
combo.
food and beverage, products packaging, and then we've also got the delivery guy. You got delivery service too.
or product passenger,
Manufacturer.
paraphernalia.
So you got 6 or 7, you know.
Oh, there's more.
So we have to determine,
The product packager. all
well,
of
what we wanna limit it to, or are we opening it up?
We probably should look at these definitions
All
and
these
read them over and earmark what we think is
Commercial,
Yeah,
not gonna work.
precluding anybody from growing it in their backyard coming in.
correct.
Well, you can't do it in your backyard, it has to be secured inside,
Inside 6 plants.
right,
Oh,
it can't be
I'm
outside.
sorry, I really don't have any intent, so I haven't.
So Eversource is really gonna get a boom, okay, now too.
Right, exactly.
They wanna include everybody,
Sidebar,
it's
but
inclusive.
Glowing lights.
Oh, yeah.
I would, the one I'd be worried about the most, that has the biggest impact to quote unquote rural, is cultivator. Last thing I wanna see is somebody come in and say, well, I'm gonna be a cultivator and I got, you know, 20% coverage on 10 acres and I'm putting 40,000 square foot building up,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
City.
I mean,
Yeah.
that one
I don't
just,
think our town is that suited for it, because, I mean, it's almost like you're like a manufacturer. Nobody comes here to manufacture because you need highways. Where are you gonna be on?
You got Brownell and Company all the way back, right in front of your house.
But didn't you
That's a
say it was too
huge
small? It's
building.
they actually told me it was too small.
Well,
too
they put
small.
a second floor on it.
It's a
That's true.
huge consumer of water and
The
electricity.
Moodus River right there.
But then again, look what they,
You gotta get a permit
that,
to draw.
for instance, that 63-acre greenhouse in Kentucky that doesn't use any water because
No.
they're using it from the rain.
There you go.
I mean, they're hydrophonically growing stuff. I mean, that's what they were gonna do with this, right? It's
Yeah.
gonna be-
Yeah, collect every
they're
bit of
not using a
rainwater
lot
that
of
comes
water
off the
because-
roof
and
and,
remember, we asked that about Colchester's
Yep,
8-acre thing that they extravaganza they were approved.
which we don't know if it's still,
Well, they approved some 4-acre thing, right?
well,
Which is
they,
big
they,
enough.
they approved theirs to allow marijuana in it also as agriculture. Their zoning regulations do, I checked after last meeting, and it does say, it says including marijuana. So they said agriculture including
it actually,
marijuana.
yeah, it actually
But-
mentions marijuana.
One in it,
But I
yeah.
thought the state doesn't include it as agriculture.
State doesn't, but they did. So they've got so if they wanted to do agriculture, they can, and if they wanna call it marijuana, they can. So they didn't just label it as agriculture, they specifically designed it, and then they went ahead and had a moratorium.
figures,
Yeah.
okay. So do we have enough to go on?
Are we
At this
good
point?
with 8 to 8 for hours of operation?
That's,
Same with liquor store, right?
what is a liquor store?
Liquor store
State's
at
gonna
9.
buy it.
Till 9.
Yeah, that's right, 8 to 9, yeah.
Is it 9 or 10?
No, it's 9,
9.
9 to 9?
8 to 9.
Let me stop.
Liquor stores are open at 8? Or they can be?
Yeah.
They line up in East Hartford.
Okay. I think the hours are the least of our worries at this point, but,
Yeah, no, it's
but,
just,
no,
you
but
know.
it's well taken.
It's good to get some of this stuff down now.
If, yeah. What else? Gotta think about,
Can they deliver this from out of town any time of the day?
I
deliveries?
don't think we can, expect delivery from other towns to our town. Yeah,
No.
I think that's outside our.
But you gotta be a licensed person to deliver too, right?
Deliver, right.
Yeah, so they must, I'm sure, have rules.
So what's the largest building we can build in this town?
Depends on acreage, right?
Right.
With the septic system.
Well, you're saying 40,000 square foot, to grow pot, but
That's an acre.
But if it was, yeah, so,
inside, so we don't allow buildings that big.
well, we do in some sections, so say hypothetically, though, I have to think this out loud. It all depends on the zone you pick. If you go and follow through this and say no residential zone for any of these activities, then we don't have to worry about it. But if somebody has 50 acres in a residential zone and they wanna be a cultivator, that's a big building. Because then you're doing 10% coverage.
Right. And our regs do allow that.
So that would be a 5 acre building, which is just big enough, I think, right? 5.
Oh, yeah, 5 acre building big,
Oh, it's a lot of square footage.
200,000 square
But I
feet.
think the 4 acre
times
one
two.
in Colchester was considered too small, and that's a monster.
Yeah, it's huge.
Okay.
Yep.
But we
So-
can limit it.
So if you limit it out and say it can't be in residential zones, then that covers that a lot, all the exposure.
Okay.
Because it is gonna be like a manufacturer, like a real factory undertaking. I mean, it's a giant warehouse,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yep.
That means you got trucking and whatever else coming out of it. So in a residential zone, does it really work?
Okay, you have enough to work on, Jim, on that?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions at this point, or comments? New business? Well, we had the public hearing, then anyone wanna look at the, we keep on putting this off, customary home occupations. Okay, we can push that back, that's fine. New business, what do you have, Deb?
I would just like to propose that, we put on the next meeting agenda, the discussion to have a formal ARC committee, as opposed to us being the ARC, a formal separate group like the town of Haddam has.
ARC?
Architecture Review Committee. I'd like to have a discussion on that next meeting.
I think, good idea. Especially if we're looking to promote a better looking Moodus, we should have some expertise in evaluating some of these buildings we hope to get.
Okay,
And I don't think I'm not an architect, but I do think it's a new board, and I think Irene would have to, the selectmen have to weigh in on that.
okay.
Or it could be a subcommittee of planning and zoning as opposed to a whole new board.
Right, but
whatever.
it's
We
a
need a-
subcommittee.
The subcommittee gets a little difficult because
Right.
one of the legislative
Back to
things that you've already, 3 people have worked with a developer for 6 months and then you
Right.
go to the meeting, it gets ugly.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't wanna,
Like Jim,
Formal
like,
ARCs I've
yeah.
been to aren't associated with zoning.
Yeah, for instance,
I
I was
think
on
that's just how
revitalization, so I
Haddam had it
can't,
structured,
when
but
it comes
agree
here, I
it should
can't be
be
Right.
involved.
A little more
Right.
autonomous.
Yeah, West Hartford has one and they're autonomous. And
I
they're
just have one question, do you know other
Architects.
people that are interested in being on this
No idea.
committee? Oh, okay.
I just-
Oh, I wasn't sure if you had like.
Just from recent experience
Uh-huh.
of things that have gone through, and I just thought there wasn't really time
CEO report,
process.
have anything?
no, nothing of earth shattering.
You haven't had a CEO report in like,
No, because
I
I've
have a
been,
question where's that, where's the 10-unit apartment house? Where
so
are we
the,
with that thing?
so that's things like that, cause the 10-unit apartment building gave us revised plans, not this past Thursday before. My
I saw
wetlands,
you out there the other
my
day.
wetlands commission met the Tuesday, so they gave it on Thursday for Tuesday. And we, between Brian Curtis and I, we quickly responded back that they only have half the septic area that they need. They didn't give us the modeling lines for the stormwater system in the drainage area that they have. They didn't give us stormwater calculations for the drainage area they have. And they sent out somebody in February to evaluate what potentially could be a vernal pool, but said that, yeah, I don't think so. And that just infuriated my commission, and it'll make them even more infuriated when they find out that there's salamander masses in the thing now. So, and Rich Narcy's gonna go out there after a couple of weeks to let the full breeding season fall through and write a report as such. They have problems.
Where's?
Okay, I just wondered where in the
Yeah,
process.
One
So there
next
are
to a
wetlands,
Lager
okay.
Farm, there's that lot that,
The old museum.
that we,
The next lot,
Approved.
2 acre lot.
Yeah, so, you know, and you get something and it's like, it seemed like throwing mud against the wall.
I remember approving that, but it's like, oh, family, and then
Single family, right,
everyone
yeah.
leaves, and it's,
I have
don't
a
know.
question about, the draft that was presented to us on the East Haddam housing from the River Council of Governments. Have we responded to that? I know we had a,
Well, they were gonna, I pointed out some things to them that they were wrong about, so I said, and I said, you also gotta dig in the weeds a little further about it. I said, first was that, you know, they said the town has all this land that's available, and I said, most of it's deed restricted, so you need to strike that, because it makes it look like we're, you know, that we have places that are available. Second, I said, could you do a little more homework on the thing, because they said that 30% of the seniors, if you looked at the unit they were in and the income that they claim, couldn't afford to be there. And I said, now let's think about it. I know the kids can't afford that. I said, but can you help me a little bit? Because if the seniors are there, one of two things are happening. Either one, they've already paid off the mortgage, so that doesn't get counted in the cost. Or are the kids supplement them to live there still? What's going on? I said, so that 30%, that number bothered me because it just seemed like a lot. So they said they're gonna see what they can do about that. And then we talked about it here in a circle and we said, we really wanted to talk about a regional group taking the lead for these sort of things, and they kinda swung back to us again, and I said, could you give us a redraft so we could look at it one more time? And so,
well, the state law requires we submit the plan
But-
for the town, not, and while we would like a regional approach, it's still our responsibility to submit a plan. So-
true, but the options in it need to be written properly, and so they were supposed to rewrite it, and that was their job, so I can bump them and see where they're at.
So we will discuss it when we get the.
Yeah, 'cause, yeah, yeah.
While we're
Is it possible
talking,
to get a copy of, correspondence back and forth on the affordable housing conversation?
They go out on emails, right?
We actually did it in a Zoom meeting, so I'll see if they collected notes.
Oh, okay.
February 8th.
while we're talking about the COG, has there been any advancement with, or any movement on the request for a corridor study?
No, and I asked again,
Request
so
for
I'll ask again.
Corridor study.
Anything else? Did you, when you did a traffic study out on, BB Road, I thought we were gonna be doing, Wickham Road too, was that done?
It failed, the
Have they
machine,
tried it again?
they were gonna wait till all the snow was done and then go back again.
Okay,
They
They
put
should
it out
be
there.
on that on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday.
Well, no, it's, they do it the whole week, it goes the whole week. So, but it only registered for 2 days and then it froze up and failed.
do you know when they're gonna try and plan to do it?
We're pushing towards April, you know, it still snows in March.
Cause I know you wanna have a meeting, but if you don't have your studies done,
Well, I don't think the study's gonna, the numbers on BB were so small, I don't think Wickham's gonna register all that much either. It'll
Okay.
be more, but I don't think it's gonna be the controlling factor. I'm more interested in getting the public works director there and talking about how he maintains the road.
has he answered?
I don't know, I've been super,
Okay.
I sent that email last night, I haven't checked.
I saw, yeah.
We haven't finalized that April 14th yet, date. It's just a couple of people.
I don't know, I met my new boss today, I've been busy all day.
I'm not excited.
Excuse me while I take care of some personal stuff.
Okay,
And I haven't been home yet to look at my own emails.
I'll reach out to him. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I'll try and call down, make sure that he can,